2020 was a weird year for games. It had some high highs and some low lows. And today we're talking about the lowest of lows, like the really low lows. That's what we're here to talk about today. So obviously there was bad games, there was disappointing games, and there's games that just let everyone down. Today we're going to be talking about my top 5 picks for the worst / most disappointing game of 2020. Now, these are probably not the general worst games, but they're just the ones that let me down the most. And hell, there's one game on here that I even forgot came out this year. That wasn't until I did a Wikipedia check at the end of the year to make sure I didn't miss anything that I even noticed this game came out. So, without further ado, let's get in what I think were some of the biggest disappointments from 2020. Mortal Shell. I forgot this game came out this year. I genuinely forgot. If someone said to me, describe Mortal Shell in one word, I would say, forgettable. This game was short, it was bland to look at, and let's not forget one of the 3 classes the game came with was completely game breaking. So much so that within a couple of weeks of the release, they had to completely nerf the class, but by that point, if you had played the game, you had probably completed it. Like, I genuinely can't remember anything that happened in this game. Like, I can remember fighting a boss that was actually 2 bosses, and the game just felt bland and boring. If you're a Dark Souls enthusiast, which I am, then this game just doesn't meet the standards of those guys. Like, if you've never played a Dark Souls game before, and this was your first experience, you're probably going to go, wow, this game wasn't actually that bad. No, it was boring and very disappointing. That is why Mortal Shell is my number 5. Marvel's Avengers. I can remember when this game was announced. The hype behind it was insane. It was immeasurable. People were going crazy for this. But me, there was something about the game that just didn't feel right. There was like this creeping sensation of, this game's just going to be a letdown, is it? And well, I was proven right. Like, don't get me wrong, the single player campaign for this game is why it's not higher on the list. This game isn't that bad. If this game had just a single player story, this game probably wouldn't be on here. But the multiplayer aspect, let's just say there's a reason 96% of the player base left the game after completing the single player campaign. Like, there's almost nothing there. It's, oh, here's a giant open area with a couple of enemies that you've already fought before. And you have to do it 100 times if you want to get that new cool t-shirt you want. So that is why Marvel's Avenger is my number 4. I want to paint a picture for you guys. I had just played what some people consider to be the greatest game of all time. I was happy. I was ecstatic. I was ready for the sequel. And it didn't help that the sequel came out literally in 2 days. My hype and excitement were immeasurable. And then The Last of Us 2 came out and I was completely disappointed, and I genuinely thought it was one of the worst games of all time. Seriously, if this game came out like the day before I made this list, it would have been number 1. But I've backtracked so many times, like seriously, like 2 or 3 times over the course of this year, it was my number 1 hated game. Why? Well, it was just so disappointing. Don't get me wrong, this game had possibly one of the best openings in gaming history. Like, the first hour up until, spoiler alert, Joe's death is absolutely insane. That's how to do this game justice. And literally, as you're begging for blood, as you want that main villain to die, and you're at your most angry, it plops you in the middle of an open area that takes about 4 hours to get through if you have no idea where you're going. And it is dull. The combat in this game is boring. I don't know why, but cover-based shooting just bores the ever-loving shit out of me. Cover-based shooting should be fast-paced if you can make it like that, but this game just takes forever. It feels like any encounter with like more than one guy takes forever to do. It's such a slog. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the gameplay in this game just isn't for me. The reason I dislike this game is to do with the game, nothing to do with anything else. Don't get me wrong, there are some things that are genuinely good about this game. Like, people that constantly say it's like, oh, the graphics in this game is the greatest thing ever. It's like, there's already a handful of games that have came out this year that have already done a better job of it. Why are you using all that immense graphical power to do streets and houses? I can look at my window and see that. Show me something cool. Show me something interesting. Frankly, the game doesn't really do that until near the end of the game. The story in this is actually pretty good. The first time I played it, I was very annoyed, but the second time I played it, I actually kind of got it, kind of enjoyed it a little bit more, but it doesn't change the fact that the combat was just so disinteresting for me. There are certain parts of the game that feel elongated, like they're longer than they should be. Like if anybody else was to say to me, oh, describe Among Us 2 in one word, I'd be like, wait, didn't you just ask me that about Mortal Shell? I would probably say padded. The game is much longer than it should be. First time I played it, I think it came to like just short of like 19 hours, when the game genuinely feels like it should be no more than 10. Considering, like I had said at the start of this bit, I had just finished playing Among Us 1 literally 2 days before this game came out, and I was so excited. This game is not an absolute masterpiece that some people may be making it out to be, but it's not the worst game that's came out this year. So with that said, that's why this is my number 3. Predator Hunting Grounds. Oh god. This game, again, I almost forgot came out this year, and then I remembered I made a video about it. This game was just, I don't even know what words to use to describe this game, to be honest. It was buggy, but it worked. It was very complicated, but yet also very simple. The balancing was absolutely horrendous. Like, hey, if you want to be a predator, cool, here's nothing. Oh, you want to play as a soldier? Oh, here's everything. And that if you're a new player to this game and you pick Predator, you're not going to have a good time. In fact, I played Predator when this game first came out and I didn't have a good time. Because all you have is a claw and a launcher that does no damage against 4 guys armed with machine guns. 1, maybe 2 maps that are almost identical, and the missions are the exact same. Go to the thing, do it 3 times, then leave. That's literally how this game plays. It just kind of disappointed me because I was very looking forward to this. I was hyped out of my mind the second this game was announced, and it just didn't live up to that standard. So that is why Predator Hunting Ground is my number 2. This list has been about disappointing games. Games that have either been forgettable, padded, bad, just genuinely uninteresting. But there's one game that kinda surpasses all of them. And a lot of people are going to think me a heretic for saying this, but in my opinion, the worst game of 2020 is none other than Cyberpunk 2077.
This station does not endorse vigilante justice, unless it gets results, which it will. Look, those idiots don't even know where we live.
Okay. Put down your pitchforks, put down your torches, let me explain. I don't have the strongest PC in the world, so I had to get this on console. Now, the console I had was the new Xbox Series S. So I was like, oh, this game should have absolutely no trouble playing this game. I can actually have a game that will actually push my new next-gen console to the limits. And it did that. Oh, it did that a lot. Now, the thing is, there's a lot of people defending this game, saying it's not bad, it's just you know, misunderstood or something. So, because of that, I'm going to do a quick pros and cons segment, properly understand why this game is probably the most hated game of 2020. Pros. The Stadia version works. The PC version is probably good, despite the bugs. Keanu Reeves has some good moments in it. They released a streamer-friendly service for it. And that's kind of it. That's all the good things that you can say about this. Well, maybe the fact that when the game does actually work, it's actually not bad. But then we get to the cons. How about we get started with the fact that there was no epilepsy warning? Like, how does something like that get so overlooked in regards to a game like this coming out? There was the whole refund debacle. There was the amount of game-breaking bugs in this game. I physically couldn't finish a boss fight 3 times in a row because of bugs. And then I stopped playing. I genuinely stopped playing because of the bugs. Here's my experience, okay? I had about 10 hours in the game, and I came across no more than 6 game-breaking bugs where I literally had to reset the console. I was running into a bug / glitch, had me reset my save point almost every 20 minutes. That's not good by any stretch of the imagination. Like, anybody that looks at the pros and goes, oh, but this is why you should give it a chance. This game comes out this year and is by far the worst game that's come out this year. I am not giving this game till February of next year. That's what they've actually said. It's like, we know this is shit. You're having to wait till February. That's like, the more you talk about this game, the worse it looks for them. How about the fact that they lied to investors to get this game made? I haven't seen a release this bad since No Man's Sky, and hell, even to a lesser extent, Battlefield 4. This game will go down in history for having one of the worst releases of all time. Hell, I genuinely believe that this time next year, we'll be talking about how Cyberpunk completely turned it around and is now going the way of No Man's Sky. But that's next year. Next year. This game isn't getting fixed this year. And because of that, that's why Cyberpunk 2077, in my opinion, is the worst game of 2020. And also the biggest disappointment, because, you know, my hopes were insanely high. Like, I genuinely thought this would have been probably Game of the Year. But it's not. So there you have it, folks. There is my picks for the worst games of 2020. Just want to point out as well, this is my opinion, so if you don't like it, hell, tell me why I'm wrong in the comment section down below. Hell, even tell me what your opinion is the worst game of 2020. Like I said, these 5 games disappointed me, made me angry, and just bored me to death. That's why these games, the worst games of 2020, in my opinion. If you have enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe, because next week we're gonna have my best games of 2020, which is the top 10. So if you have enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe. I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, I've been Scottish. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.